latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com. Now, from the Signature Bank Studios. Only the biggest stories, only the biggest guests, and only the biggest opinions. This is AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan Proft here on the government shutdown. The always quotable and colorful Louisiana Senator John Kennedy had this to say.
You know, everything happens for a reason, but sometimes the reason is you're stupid and you made a bad decision.
Sure, yeah.
And my Democratic colleagues have made a very, very bad decision here. I knew they were going to do this 2 weeks ago when they listed their demands. They're demanding, for example, that we not check people on Medicaid for eligibility by income. Just let anybody sign up who wants to sign up. They're demanding that we give free health care to foreign nationals who are in our country illegally. They're demanding that taxpayers pay for sex change operations. If you list all of their demands and add them up, it's between 1.2 and 1.5 trillion dollars. Now, they know it's an unserious proposal. They know we're not going to accept it. That tells me that this decision to shut down government is not based on policy, Rob. It's based on politics. And here's the politics. The loon wing, the socialist wing of the Democratic Party, does not like Senator Schumer. And he wants them to like him. He wants them to love him. They have asked that government be shut down, and Senator Schumer has agreed. But once you shut down government, you've got to figure out how to get it back open. A wise person once said, if you pray for rain, you got to be prepared to deal with the mud. And I don't know how they're going to deal with the mud, because we will never, ever agree to this list of demands. So I guess we'll just stay shut down in perpetuity.
And what does shut down mean? Well, just looking at the cabinet agencies, shutdown means the furloughing of as high a percentage as 89% of the workers in the EPA. And by the way, there's more than 15,000. And as low as 3% of the workers in the VA being furloughed. Maybe about 500,000 federal workers furloughed overall. But this is also against the backdrop of this reporting that first pegged it at 100. Reuters, I saw, had it pegged at as many as 150,000 federal workers who are ready to quit, regardless of the shutdown. They are just, don't want to be part of the Trump administration. Okay. So the impact of the government shutdown, I mean, we've been here before. Of course, the last time we were here was 7 years ago when, who was president again? Oh, Trump. So they were running the same game. And yes, the hypocrisy, Democrats decry shutdowns when there's the prospect that Republicans will instigate one. Republicans usually blink and there isn't one. And then we just continue on spending as we have spent since the New Deal, basically. We talked to C.S. Tucker last hour about some of this with respect to the healthcare argument that Schumer and company are making. But it's pretty clear that they are the instigators here. So ostensibly, they will wear the jacket. And one of the things that Republicans have in terms of an argument is that you did have three Democrat senators, Fetterman, Mastro from Nevada, and Angus King from Maine, I believe, were the three that crossed over and voted with Republicans for the clean CR to continue operating the government and negotiating over this spending that was resized that they want restored. For more on all this, please be joined by Stephen Moore, economist, author of The Trump Economic Miracle and the Plan to Unleash Prosperity Again. Stephen, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Dan, good to be with you. And by the way, for I don't know, the last 30 years, you and I and others have always said that Republicans are the stupid party and the Democrats are the evil party. But in this case, I think the Democrats are the stupid and evil party. I mean, what they've done here is really outrageous. This is the Schumer lockdown, shutdown, and he wanted it. I said this 2 or 3 weeks ago on your show. He wanted a shutdown of the economy. This is exactly what he was aiming for. So he made these outrageous demands. Which senator was that you were just playing that?
John Kennedy.
Was that? Oh, he does a great job of exposing reality in Washington. And so, look, they've overplayed their hand here. They're up a creek right now because I've talked to my friends over there at the White House last night. Trump is not going to blink here. He's not going to budge 1 inch. And the Democrats are going to have to fold. The fact that you had 3 Democrats in the Senate already blink means that I think this will probably last another couple of days at most, and I think the Democrats will come to their senses. But the most important thing for people to understand is we are running a $2 trillion budget deficit. We have record amounts of government spending, and the Democrats are saying we're going to shut down the government unless you give us another $1.5 trillion of spending. I don't think there are too many Americans who think that's a great idea.
Well, right. But one of the things I want to understand is this just the government shutdown theater we've become accustomed to, or is this a little bit different this go round because of what Ross Vought had to say about permanent layoffs and and permanent layoffs combined with apparently some 100,000, 150,000 workers that are planning to quit regardless. And boy, maybe we get to some Doge numbers here if we keep up at this pace.
Right. Well, that is the strategy, and Russ Vought has thought this through. And by the way, the fact that we have several 100,000 federal employees who are non-essential, and that you've got a federal government that's losing $2 trillion, I think if this was a company, you'd basically say, sorry, we can't have non-essential people. We're losing money. But that's not the way Washington thinks. But if that is the way Trump and Russell Vought think, and get rid of it. By the way, in past shutdowns, I think I've lived through about 12 to 15 of these since 1984. Do you know the government employees still get paid?
Yeah, right. Well, that's the whole point. That's why it's theater. I mean, you get back pay, basically. Right? And
anybody would love that.
And just again, I mean, the State Department, the Labor Department, the Commerce Department, the Education Department, and the EPA, a majority of their workforce is quote unquote non-essential. They're furloughed.
Yeah, right. So, get rid of them. I mean, this is called draining the swamp, folks. It's something that the American people voted for. Now, to his credit, Trump has already reduced the federal workforce by about 250,000, which is a good number. And in fact, if you look at the job numbers, one of the reasons the job numbers aren't up to the level we'd like them to be is because when they when they count all the jobs, they're counting in government jobs. Well, we've cut 250,000 government jobs, which is a good thing, not a bad thing. We should really count private sector employment because that's what matters most. And the more we can cut government employment, the better.
So this is interesting. It's a bit contrarian given the zeitgeist at present, but Mark Skuzin, you know him, economist.
I know Mark, yeah.
Yeah. So in reaction to the second quarter GDP number being revised up to 3.8%, he writes, dig into the numbers, however, and you find the trade wars, in fact, wreaking economic havoc. Buried in the BEA report is a more reliable measure of the economy, gross output. Gross output revealed that economic growth is slowing to a crawl, ahead only 1.2% in real terms. If you include all transactions in wholesale and retail trade, the adjusted gross output is up only 0.3%. Overall business spending fell sharply by an annualized 5.6% in real terms. So these results are much more consistent with the weak labor market data, and they raise the specter of the R word, says Mark Skuzin.
Yeah, I don't see that. I think he's wrong. I know Mark's a friend of mine. He's got it half right and half wrong.
Okay.
He is right that that one of the mythologies of economics, and this is in every economics textbook, it's in every economic broadcast, this idea that consumers drive the economy. right? And that's wrong. That's not what drives the economy. What drives the economy is production, not consumption. There's plenty of consumer demand in, Zimbabwe because then people don't have anything. What you need to do is be producing things. Now, he is right that business-to-business spending has fallen, and that's not a good sign. But what he's leaving out is that, as Larry Kudlow says every day on his show, and he's right about this, what the most important thing that drives the economy for the future is business investment. And we're seeing a boom in business investment right now. And that's one of the reasons I'm really optimistic for next year. I mean, businesses, their capital expenditures on things like machinery, R&D, building factories, those numbers are really solid.
E.J. Antoni, he was supposed to be the new Bureau of Labor stats guy, and his nomination has been pulled. What happened there? Yeah,
I just wrote a piece. EJ, by the way, is, just for full disclosure, a good friend of mine. I discovered EJ Antoni. He's amazing. He's a young superstar in economics. But there's an old saying about Washington D.C. that if you want a friend, buy a dog. And so the entire Washington establishment turned against him. And it wasn't about EJ Antoni. It was about Trump. And right. Trump fired the BLS numbers counter because her numbers were all wrong. Now, I think he made the mistake in saying she rigged the numbers. I don't think she rigged the numbers. I think she just was incompetent. And we're not getting accurate numbers. They overcounted the number of jobs that were created under Biden by almost 3 million. And by the way, the errors were always overestimating job creation.
Of course.
Do you think that was just a random error?
Yeah, of course. They always seem to go in the direction of their preferred party, don't they?
Exactly. So Trump fired her, and then as soon as EJ was announced, the left went after him. He became he was caught in the crossfire. It was all political. EJ's it's the loss of the country. He would have been a great BLS guy who could have really fixed that thing, but it's too bad that he's dropped out. But the good news, he's going to be working with me again in that Heritage and other places, so he'll continue to be a rising star. And the most despicable thing was that all of these other economists at places like American Enterprise Institute and Manhattan Institute and a place of Tax Foundation, they attacked him because they were jealous of him. They were jealous of his meteoric rise and his media presence because he's everywhere. He's even on TV more than I am. So that jealousy is an ugly thing, and that was what this really came down to. And frankly, it's the country's loss, that he won't be in that position.
Interesting. Wanted to get your take on.
By the way, there's a little advice to people that I will give, because as you know, Dan, I've gone through that too.
Yes.
If you are ever, Dan, and I know you're going to get that call from the White House any day now. No. If you're offered a job for a Senate, I think you wanted to be ambassador to the Bahamas, didn't you?
Yeah, I would consider that. Yeah.
But anyway, if you're ever offered a job, folks, that requires Senate confirmation, run for the high grass as fast as you can, because it is a terrible, terrible process.
I wanted to get your take on Trump's pharmacy, Trump RX, that he unveiled yesterday with Pfizer CEO in tow. We're still not fans of price controls and this sort of mercantilist coming together of government and business, are we?
There is a bit of that under Trump. And look, I love Trump. I'm a big supporter of his. But he does have this idea that we can have government partnership with private industry and create all these products. And so that makes me nervous. Look, drug prices are too high. There's no doubt about it. We have this project we've created called, Most Favored Patient, where there are ways to bring down drug prices. It is true that it's not fair that the Europeans and the Canadians pay half what we pay in the United States for drugs, because they freeload off of our R&D, and they don't pay for any of that. And so
but we get a premium from that disparate payment, right? It's called access.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, we have more access to the drugs, good point, than they do. And by the way, once the drugs go generic, then the prices fall dramatically. By the way, generic prices are higher in Britain and Europe than they are here.
Right.
So, I want to make one point about this that's a little bit different from where you're headed, but it's a really important one. One of the villains here in terms of the high price of prescription drug prices is the FDA. As everyone knows, these drugs have to go through an FDA approval process. Mm-hmm. We have drugs to deal that are pretty much ready to go that dealing with cancer, MS, Parkinson's disease, epilepsy. I could go down the list. And they're promising drugs, even like terrible neurological diseases. And the FDA will not allow those to be sold in the United States because they put these in trials for years and years and years. And my feeling is like, this is America. If you want to buy something, you should be able to. Why should the federal government not allow you to let's say, provide people with an experimental drug for multiple sclerosis? I mean, why would they do that?
I agree. And I would think that the right to try that was signed by Trump in his first term would have provided some clearance for that.
The problem.
Obviously.
Again, you and I were strongly supportive of that. Trump did sign the bill. You know why it hasn't really taken hold? It's done some good because the insurance companies won't cover, insure those drugs. So they won't pay, and people pay insurance. By the way, the other big villain, while we're on the subject of the lockdown, the two most villainous groups are the Senate Democrats and the health insurance companies. Because the health insurance companies, when we did Obamacare, you know who made the most money off of Obamacare?
The big health insurance companies?
Yep. They had record profits. Their profits.
Yeah, well, they wrote Obamacare. I mean, they obviously knew what they were doing. Yeah.
Yeah. But, that's why, like, if we sometimes I think like Bernie Sanders is like, if they're just going to be appendages of the federal government, then let's just get rid of the insurance companies altogether. But these are strange times we're living in.
Stephen Moore, economist, author of the Trump Economic Miracle and the Plan to Unleash Prosperity Again, co-authored with Art Laffer. Steve, thanks as always.
Okay, happy Schumer shutdown day.
Yeah, right. And he joined us on the Turnkey.pro answer line.
It's like a hot, steaming cup of information to start your day. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer. Gain insight into building strong marriages and raising godly children with Focus on the Family with Jim Daly each weekday at 11:30 a.m. on our sister station, AM 1160.